All right. Welcome, everyone, to our glorious morning. Cold in some places, warm in others. And we're here to gently embrace this beautiful interconnectivity of our personal heart to the global heart. And we're coming together to really honor this experience that really envelops us when we open our heart, when we are willing to really become more greatly aware of our loving presence, our passion, and this desire to step into our evolutionary purpose. That this experience here, the Monday morning heart resonance, is really an opportunity to practice these conceptual terms that some people consider, but they're actually living experience. So it's coming into this living experience of love in present time and really becoming responsive to that impulse of creation, that evolutionary impulse that is driving all of nature, that's moving, for us in the East Coast, moving it into wintertime, from fall to winter now. And we can see that with the trees shifting and changing, and we're no different. We are that living presence. So this morning, we'll just begin with a deepening into the heart. And then beautifully, Nahid has offered a reflection, love of oneself, which June has come in as Nahid decided she was going to be on retreat this week. Let's see, Sunday and Monday. And so then we'll have an opportunity to really practice this being in the direct experience of this emergent voice, this spirit of wholeness. So with that, just want to invite everyone to just come into the silence for a moment. Dropping and coming into that full focused attention, bringing your loving attention to your heart, just allowing that breath just to move in and out of the heart. I love when Malini starts on Thursday, she always, it's like, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. She just has this just beautiful, very relaxed presencing with the breath. And just to feel this circuitry that's happening within our central nervous system, within all life. And as we anchor and that energy through our feet into the earth, we feel that sense of solidity and nurturing. And just allowing that deepening into what we've been speaking to, that living presence of love. And as you're breathing, just bring a warm smile into this vibrational flow. This feeling of, I love you, I'm here with you. I cherish you. And allowing yourself to soften into that. Because we are a living community of love. And we're just allowing that to move through the inner waters of our being in this moment. And as creationists, because that's really what we are, we begin to allow that vibrational frequency, that home frequency, to expand out to this ever radiant etheric heart, this vibrational frequency of love. To all those that we're connected to. And even more so to those that are troubled and reactive and in fear or confusion. We just allow that rippling to happen. We allow that loving of oneself to expand out to other, to us, to the larger community, to all relations, plants, animals. Winged ones. And we can feel that sense of upliftment beginning to happen as we wrap our arms, that electromagnetic frequency around the planet. And that expanse of love of then reflects itself back to us. And bringing our attention back fully present here in this room, in this Zoom loving room. And very gently opening your eyes and just looking around, catching a glimpse of yourself through another. And just honoring that sense of peace that's becoming more available when our rivers flow together. And with that, I pass this beautiful virtual talking stick to June, who'll read the reflection, and then we all know what to do here. So just let the spirit of wholeness emerge. Blessings.
Good morning, everyone. This is June from California. And today we're going to talk about love of oneself. As I begin to love myself, I found that anguish and emotional suffering are the only warning signs that I was living against my own truth. Today, I know this is authenticity. As I began to love myself, I stopped craving for a different life, and I could see that everything that surrounded me was inviting me to grow. Today, I call it maturity. As I began to love myself, I freed myself of anything that is no good for my health. Food, people, things, situations, and everything that drew me down and away from myself. At first, I called this attitude a healthy egoism. Today, I know it as love of oneself. As I began to love myself, I refused to go on living in the past and worry about the future. Now I only live for the moment, where everything is happening. Today, I live each day, day by day, and I call it fulfillment. As I began to love myself, I recognized that my mind can disturb me and it can make me sick. But as I connected it to my heart, my mind became a valuable ally. Today, I call it wisdom of the heart. We no longer need to fear arguments, confrontations, or any kind of problems with ourselves or others. Even stars collide, and out of their crashing, new worlds are born. Today, I know that is life. These words likely come from Kim and Allison Macmillan, but sometimes are credited to Charlie Chaplin. So today we ask ourselves, what does the radical intimacy with the one self look like to you? Would you mind sharing it with all of us? And I'm complete, and I pass on the beautiful heart crystal.
I'm just sort of giggling, and I just want to jump in here for a moment, just being myself. And I love that question at the end, because isn't it true that the universe is asking that of us, all of us right now? Would you share this, and would you share this experience with another, and I feel like, for me, that's attuning to that evolutionary impulse, but it's also attuning to our evolutionary purpose. That how is this inner impulse calling us forward and inviting us to share ourselves, and for us to move forward with that growing capacity and courage, and trusting that we can and we will be authentic, be more mature, all those things that were listed, it's just like that's how we're holding each other. And I think it's really at the base of who we are and what we do is that innate desire to share this deeper intimacy, this undefined love, this unconditional love, call it whatever, with another, with each other, with the world. So that I just kind of had this little tickle from that, and appreciate the gift of this reflection. And I put the talking stick in the center.
Morning, everywhere, everyone. This is John in Boulder. Woke up this morning to 8 or 10 inches of snow. It's 7 degrees outside. And I checked in with my divine self and said, how can I serve on a day like this? They said, pack your swimsuit. You're needed in Tahiti. So I'm going to leave tomorrow morning. No, it's a joke. It can happen anywhere, but it's beautiful outside, and I'm sure it's beautiful if anybody's out on a beach as well. And it just reminded me of, things change every moment, and we can be part of that change, or we can resist that change. And like I said, when I woke up this morning, it was like, oh my God, it's October, but it feels like the middle of January. And it's like, it was a challenge. And then I just, I was out doing a little shoveling, and I was looking how gorgeous and beautiful it was. And I go, this is all, every moment is part of the master plan. It's the design, the divine design. And So it really dropped into how much do I resist the truth or how much do I trust it? How much do I resist for what I think should be or let go of what I think I should be and tune into this home frequency, this resonant field that we're all part of? And I really felt like I can communicate. I've been given this response ability to communicate directly with that divine love in the moment, regardless of what the external looks like. And so it just settled in. I settled in and I got on here and listened to my dear friends. And June, that was a beautiful piece you brought through. And so I just expect to have a good, loving day in 10 inches of snow and 7 degrees.
Self-love is connected with snow love, to carry John's thread. And I think it comes from Rumi. I'm not using the same words, but it's removing, the important thing is removing the obstacles to love. And to self-love, to love of others, to love of snow and cold. And it is I guess it's an art to do all of that and to return to that. How can I be of service? How can I help on this day? Or how can I do something that's helpful? And also another thought is that related to authenticity is we are most authentic when we are sharing, when we are connected to our soul gifts, when we are expressing from that place that is the clearest place where it's, I guess it's also honoring oneself, which is love of self, when you create opportunities that where your soul gifts, where your passions, where your true self, your true nature, your true part of the divine is able to shine through. So that's my cool and cold self-loving thoughts this morning.
Hi, everyone. It's Don here. And always nice to be here to share and the wisdom that comes forth always in these meetings in an atmosphere of love. Um, the Eskimos, they deal with snow. And as we know, we've heard this many times, they have many words for snow. There's the snow that they can make igloos out of and the snow that they can get warmth from, and snow they have to be careful to walk on, and so on. So they have many different names for the different kinds of snow. Now, unfortunately, we don't have too many names that we use regularly for the different kinds of love. And we talk about love as though there's only one kind of love. But I think there are many kinds of love. And we have, the world today is unfortunately full of tribal love. Tribal love is where you love your tribe, usually at the expense of other tribes. You know, for example, the language we have the words we have is mostly based on tribal love. What's good for my flag, my country, what's good for my political party, what's good for my religious group. So these are words that our ancestors created that are tribal words, and they divide us into basically a way of thinking where we identify with tribal love. Now, I think most people in this group have graduated to a higher form of love, which we might call global love, universal love. And a lot of times when you look at what we teach people, let's say most religions, do religions teach tribal love, where you say my religion is the right way, or do we teach global or universal love? And just my experience is that most of the time we're educating people in tribal love, not in universal love. And this group is clearly, as I've said many times, the low-hanging fruit. We are the people who are more interested in universal love. That how do we direct our energy for the benefit of the greater whole, not just for my country or my tribe or my family and so on. But it's important we try to realize that. So, and I thank you, Juna. That was a wonderful introduction. And the idea of intimacy, into me see, intimacy is into me see. We're continually carrying on a conversation with ourselves. And it seems to me, in my work in psychiatry, where I've had an opportunity to share the intimate details with thousands of people over years, I've learned that most people don't love themselves very much. We tend to be our own worst enemy. We tend to think of what's wrong with ourselves rather than endorsing ourselves. So intimacy is learning to love ourselves when we have this conversation with ourselves. And the conversation requires a dialogue where we use words, where we think in terms of how we can cooperate and work together. So I just raised this issue. Let's look at ourselves and the language we use and realize that most of the world is, unfortunately, if you just listen to the debates, as many of us have, you see we're so much involved in tribal love. My tribe is the right way, and if you don't belong to my tribe, your family is no good, and you don't deserve to be where you are, or whatever. We spend most of our time attacking and demeaning others rather than saying, what can we learn for the good of the whole to work for ourselves. The one sentence would simply be, what's good for my tribe and your tribe for now and the future. No blaming, no shaming in that one sentence. And I'm complete. I'm not really complete, but I'm going to stop here. Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. This is June from California again. And as I was thinking about and looking over these beautiful words that Nahid gave us, the one wisdom of the heart really hit, because when I was young, I had a mother who was really good at saying how she felt, but she wasn't always very good at how she said it. And I developed a desire not to sound like that when I talked. So I was very quiet for a long time about how I felt about things. And then as I grew older and learned that there's probably nothing that I can't say if I say it from my heart, if I don't blame or I don't judge. And so striving for many, many years to learn how to express the truth of what I feel, the depth of what I feel, and the importance of what I feel, which I had buried a lot. I began to see that all it takes really is saying it from your heart, and was just amazed at how easy it is to be heard when you speak from that place. How many problems I have been able to solve because I come from that place. And so it's a constant reminder that my feelings are great and they're very important, but how I put them out, how I filter them through my heart with the wisdom of my head has just been an incredible lesson for me. And I try to remember that whenever it is that I have very strong feelings that perhaps don't agree with everybody else, but that there is a way. There's a way to say it, there's a way to feel it, and there's a way to connect with others while I do it. So that's been a big lesson in my life. And I'm finished for the moment, but not for the day. And I pass the crystalline heart back.
This is Sharon in New Jersey. So many beautiful threads to pick up on. The language that you're speaking of, both Dawn and June. I'm thinking when I was reading those words at first this morning, I read them before the call, self-love, and I was thinking about self-care and what I've been doing lately and reflecting upon that. And I was really thinking about it in terms of myself, my personal self, I think. And then Dawn, as you were speaking and talking about the different kinds of love, that I was kind of opening my mind up and thinking about, well, the other aspect of self-love is love of self, and the self being a whole lot bigger than that, than me, my body-mind complex here. And so it's interesting because I did a cleanse this weekend, and I did an Ayurvedic cleanse. I also had this big treatment on my skin, and that's all been cleansing and changing. And so that's been going on. At the same time, I found I was drawn to listen to Snadam Kaur and chanting, and because it takes me into that beautiful place where I'm just, loving. I'm just loving the universe. And so they go together. It seems like if they're focusing on trying to take care of myself and my body, at the same time opens up my spirit to that alignment and to being closer, more global in my love. And you bounce around in these domains. I spent time this morning on the 538 polls to see how my side's doing. My tribe there, which I think is the tribe that's more about universal love. So, rather, but it's like, man, half the country is, it's like really, it boggles the mind in terms of the politics situation. But the news was good on the polls, so that's all very encouraging. And lastly, the connection to nature. So this morning I took a walk. It's raining here. We have fall going on, but it's like 50, 60 degrees. And so it was lovely to just go out in the light rain and walk through the woods, although I wasn't seeing much in the way of birds today. But we've had pine siskins this week. It's been delightful. So lastly, last night, I watched a beautiful documentary on Netflix that I highly recommend called My Octopus Teacher. And if you haven't seen it, it is worth a watch. This guy spent a whole year every day going into this kelp forest off the tip of South Africa and spending time with this octopus who he became friends with, really. It was a very intimate relationship, and it's amazing. And I also the night before watched A Life on Our Planet by David Attenborough, which if you haven't seen that, it's a must see. It's our life, a life on our planet, and it's his a reflection of what's happened in his lifetime on our planet, which is also my lifetime for the most part. And it's a beautiful witness statement. He talks about it being as a witness statement of what's happening on the planet, but also solutions. And it's very, it's very hopeful towards the ending. And of course, it's beautiful to see the diversity of life. So just all of that, you talk about self-love and loving, it's just like, there's so much to love and to, to be kind to ourselves. That I think of forgiveness when I think about self-love. That's because I'm just so not perfect, So everything is very imperfect at the same time. It's totally, that's life. I think that last bit where she said the conflict and everything else, it's all life. So I will be complete as a lover of life.
Good morning, this is Rosemary. Listening to the pattering of the rain on my tin roof and basking in the light of all of your countenances. It's so beautiful to see all your faces. Self-love. What came to me when I first heard the beautiful reading, and thank you, June, for sharing it, was that word, how does one have intimacy with oneself? And I didn't see it written until I just checked my phone. And I noticed that it's written in capital letters and it's 2 words, one self. And when I heard it as one word. How does one, or how do I have intimacy or express intimacy with oneself? What am I getting at? The oneself is one word. The oneself is we are the oneself. I see in you what's reflected back to me. So to have intimacy with that oneself, the bigger picture, if I may, or on a more minuscule platform, myself, it's really the same, because I seek the oneself in my connection with what I call the divine. And within that connection is the oneself. And within that connection is the intimacy that is developed over time. That intimacy with myself comes with acceptance. That's a big one for me. To accept what I've discovered and continue to discover about myself, the little self. Accepting the imperfection, as someone has already said, and being gentle with myself, allowing the really the light that we all share and that we all are, to be the beacon, to shine out. But it can't shine out very clearly and brightly unless it begins within myself. And the responsibility of looking and seeking and questioning and finding and discovering and accepting, ultimately accepting, and humbly bringing out the good stuff, the best. Is truly how I will continue to bask in your sunshine that I see in your faces, and immerse myself in this field that I see as a water, as a thermal pool, one of my favorite places on the planet. That warm flow of love between us emanates, is given, and is received. And no matter if there's 10 inches of snow or 5 inches of rain on my roof, it's all beautiful. Thank you, everyone.
And in our relationship with our mother, with Gaia, the creative force that is our pulse, is our home frequency, we can feel the power in the winds and the snow and the earth reaching for balance. And we are called to co-create that balance with her within ourselves, and breathe our oneness and look for what we can create. Be the creators. We are. The call of the snow and the hurricane winds. Namaste.
I'm feeling the heat. I'm feeling her, I'm feeling her enthusiastic thrust when she gets excited. And I'm just dropping in that was very deliberately done. The separation, it wasn't one self. It was one new word, self. And yeah, that's it. Just taking a pause and feeling into that just a little bit deeper. What is that? Who is that? What is that awareness that really communicates in an infinite way with us? This, I don't know, I'm just seeing it as this infinity pool of love, this reciprocity that someone mentioned it earlier, playing through that thread of this deep listening. And for me, the experience here was just coming to me. It's like, it's going wide. It's like, how do we go wide? You know, I grew up in a world where everyone wanted to go vertical, and probably still does, always wanting to ascend and ascend out of the body. And then for me, there came this time of like, no, it's really about descending into the body. And in this moment, when I'm feeling into the one self, it just feels like it's an experience of going wide. And maybe that's what we're calling heart opening. But that feeling of going wide. It's kind of like this window right here. It's just huge and it's wide. And there's this vastness of experience that, and I'll just end it with this, like every day I'm amazed at the changing of the light on the same the same mountains, the same trees, the same, nothing has changed. I mean, yes, it's growth, but how the light shifts and changes and highlights different parts of the whole. So that, thank you, I'm complete, whole for now, getting holier, and blessings.
Good morning. That's beautiful. You know, we're here together, and all the topics that we discussed have an arrow pointed out there that comes right directly back into us. It's a signpost on the side of the road that says, "Don't look at me, look inside." And, you know, we've spent so much of our life, you know, looking for the magic. You know, there's so many different types of magic. I was reading a little book to my granddaughter the other day, and we were talking about magic. And there's quite a few types of magic that we've grown up with. There's a supernatural magic, you know, of a fairy godmother changing a pumpkin into a coach. It brings us into this fantasy land. There's the conjuring type of magic that a magician on the stage or an illusionist, you know, will pull a rabbit out of a hat. And then, you know, there's the most amazing magic of reality when we look into the sky and we look at the stars or we look at a rainbow. But the greatest magic of all is discovery of our own heart. We spent all our lives with the different types of magic, and here we come together and say, wait a second, take a look inside. And we all relate to that. We all see that. You know, you said it before, Shelley, we have the circuitry. We are wired. And as different as we are, we're all wired for that. Henry just said, you know, take away the obstacles that prevent us from really seeing that. And, you know, every day, you know, we opened up to the possibility. Every single day, we opened up to the possibility of newness, to really explore the deepest magic inside of us. It's so practical. And that's why we love each other, because we show each other that the love exists inside of ourselves. And then we can love much more fully, because we don't have the insecurity that the love won't come back to us. It's already inside of us. And we have the practical application of it. Every time we breathe, there is a reminder. Every time we breathe, we are shown what is inside of ourself. It's an amazing thing to love. And so what an incredible topic to click onto this morning, that we come searching and we find, because we really have that in common. And yes, Dawn, this is our tribe, but I'm not really interested in any other tribes. I don't, when I feel that this is the purpose of my life, there really isn't a duality that exists. Yet it does exist every day for me when I turn on the TV or I open up a newspaper. But today is the day, right now is the moment, that there is no duality. So yeah, when we want to love ourselves, we have to ask the question of what are we loving? What's the purpose of this life? This is the magic. And as much as I love all the other types of magic, this one holds up. And I think we spend most of our lives, looking at those different magics and we say that's just what it is. But if you're fortunate enough to come to this part of your life right now and see that that search has ended, our lives are really complete. And then maybe we don't have to have as much fear of this life not going on forever. That we've had quite an experience. And we seek each other to share it. Thank you.
That's what I really love about being here. You see, is that, Don, you're so right on about the language. Just like tribe has so much baggage with it. Everybody go, oh, well, tribe is a group of Africans or whatever. So I would say immediately let that term tribe go away because it's limiting. I agree with you there. But what I love about this is what David, thank you, David, brought to me. I didn't really hear your words. I did not. I felt the vibration of them, but I didn't allow my mind to differentiate anything because of the words you used. And that direct experience of the resonant field allowed me to become coherent and resonant without definition. We talk about love being an undefined love. It's not in the definition of it for me nearly as much as it used to be. It is about the direct experience of that vibration, of that energy field itself. And listening to your heart space, that is the point of unification with that energy. The words, I couldn't tell you what you just said, but I can tell you what I felt as you were speaking. And I feel as though that undefined place is the cleanest and the clearest place that my heart can get. And that's, we all have a calling. I feel like the older I get, that's become more my calling. how can I ease into that direct experience of resonance, and how can I share that? And outside of that, I can see it in the snow and the cold weather and anywhere else I go. But from you all, from friends, I can feel that and appreciate being here.
So something's coming to me in this moment. And again, for those who haven't gotten to share, we still have a couple of minutes, but I'm going to invite you just to stay on a little bit longer and just allow this to expand into the Resonance Lounge. What was coming to me is this opportunity, because we always open with resonance. We always open. And in this moment, I just got this little nudge, which was like, close it in resonance. Allow, and we're not closing it like shutting a door. We're just allowing the penetration of this experience, of the divinity within this moment to take hold. So we're not rushing off somewhere or just, I got to go, or I got to go even into the Resonance Lounge. It's just like, so I'm going to just invite a pause. And if there's anything that's, contributed to a little bit of, ooh, or, we get to breathe and we get to open and we get to widen this, and we get to become aware of this effervescent, luminescent circuitry of love that we are. So the invitation in this moment is just to come back to really feel into the whole, the wholeness of who you be, that interconnectivity, meaning any feelings of maybe there's some part of you that doesn't feel valued for something that you've said or you've done, and just to love yourself up. Just coming back to the fullness, to the breath, to this intimate relationship, because wasn't that the question? This intimate relationship with the whole, with the field itself, informing you. And you might just check into that smile. Is there something that's gotten a little brighter? Is there something that's become illuminated in your consciousness? And can you feel us all together as one self? So with that, this is a beautiful day that awaits us all. No matter where you're going, no matter what you're doing, you get to take all of us with you, whether you like it or not. And so we'll just close with a little bit of a gentle yum, just feeling that vibration. And I'm going to pass the host to John, even though he's not here yet. But he will be. He's just avoiding the yum part. Yum.
Yum, yum.
Your day be bright and beautiful, even if you have 10 inches of snow or inches of rain. Blessings to you all. Thank you for being here and bring that love right into the Resonance Lounge for as long as you can stay. And I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you.